gentlemen, and welcome to the SimCity 4 Masterclass. My name is SmileyMK93, and in this video we're going to look at how to create marinas in SimCity 4. This will be the first video of a three-part series on harbours in general. The first video, as I've just said, will be on marinas, the second will be on freight seaports, and the third will be on ferry terminals. Marinas and harbours in general are a great way to make your cities a great focal point for your cities. They're quite simple to make, but they require a lot of preparation. But the effort's worth it. So let's get started. First thing to think about with a marina is the location. A natural harbour like the one I'm circling here with the cursor is pretty much perfect. It's surrounded on three sides by land. It has a little outlet to the main sea area. This is the kind of area that's just perfect for a marina. It's already a natural harbour, so we can work with it and make it a simple harbour. Make it a marina, sorry. We'll keep it simple, but this will just show you the basics of how to create a marina. First thing we need to do is deal with the height. Now I'm going to use the TerrainQuery tool here. I've pressed Ctrl X to activate the cheat box, right-clicked to display the cheat list, and selected TerrainQuery. What this does is when you activate the query tool, it shows you some coordinates. The important coordinate here is the Y coordinates, which shows you the height above the ground, and we're going to use that to find the sea level, because most of the lots we'll be using work with terrain that's half a metre above. So you can see there the cursor, I've put the cursor on the coastline, and the Y coordinate is on 250 meters. That means that our sea level in this map is 250 meters. Yours may vary, so it's worth using the terrain tool to find out. Now, harbour lots generally require a 0.5 meter terrain difference between the land and the sea, so they need to be put half a meter above the sea level. So for us that means 250.5 meters. So we need to get terrain that's 250.5 meters. The easiest way to do that is to place single tiles with road or rail, like I'm doing here, and just keep trying until we get one at the correct height. By correct height I mean a height that's a multiple of 0.5 meters. So using the TerrainQuery tool, you see that's not good because it's 0.3. That one's perfect. You saw there briefly the height. You can see there the height is 265.5 meters. Which is a multiple of 0.5 meters above 250.5, specifically exactly 15. So now that we've got that flat terrain, we need to lower it to the correct height. It's 15 meters above where we want it to be, so we need to use a hole digger to get it down. Hole diggers are part of the NAM, which I'm sure you all have, and they're found in the roads menu. So now we've got the roads menu open, we need to find the hole diggers, and luckily for us the first one is exactly the one we need, which is the 15 meter piece. We rotate it so that it changes from the razor to the hole digger, and you'll see now if we use the TerrainQuery it's at the correct height. And now we just use single tiles of road or rail. I like to use rail because it's cheaper, to flatten the terrain around the edge of the harbour. You'll see here that we can't build any further to the south because there's water in the way. Fortunately we have exactly the tools available that we need to create that. We use the hill tool available in the main road landscaping area. So you just want to carefully raise the terrain here. Just single mouse clicks or very brief presses of the mouse will be sufficient. You don't need any more, otherwise you'll get huge spikes. And then once you've got some actual land rather than water, you can extend the flat area using the single rail tiles. Here we've got a bit of a sticky outy bit, which we don't want. we want a nice level wall, so we just use the lower tool just to get that down to side, just to convert that sticky outy bit into water. If you make a mistake, you can just correct it like so. And so you just need to extend the single rail tiles at this point around the edge of the harbour. Again, it's just single clicks here with the terraforming tool. You don't need anything more than that. It's quite a powerful tool, so you do have to be careful using it. Anyways, eventually you have something like this. Now we need to smoothen out this diagonal coast, so I'm using the level tool. Notice how I have the cursor on the flat tiles. The way the leveling tool works is it raises the terrain to the height at which the cursor is. So by using the level terrain tool on the flat tiles, you ensure that it raises or lowers the terrain to the correct height. And you'll see there I've just used the lower terrain tool, that is, to just smoothen out that diagonal a bit better. And that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of water here that I need to correct. Again, I'm using the level tool, positioning it on the flat tile. I didn't quite get it right that time, but I did get it right this time. And you can see there, that's what we want. We want a nice flat edge between the land and the water. A nice straight edge, as you see there. Right. And yes, I know it's not perfectly straight, but that doesn't really matter. Now, I want to do something a bit different. I want to create some space for a slipway, which will allow people to launch boats. And to do this, I'm just trying to smoothen out the terrain beyond the coastline into the water, and I'm doing that with the hill tool. Just little mouse clicks, nothing special. Just enough to smoothen out the slope, so you don't have to throw the boats over a cliff. You can just push them smoothly into the water. If you look at real slipways in real life, they're like concrete ramps into the water. And I found that terraforming was essentially the best way to replicate that. You can see that if we highlight the grid, the slope on those immediate tiles, the slope on this tile I'm highlighting here is a lot shallower than it is on the rest of the coastal tiles of the harbour. So we just get rid of what we don't need. Now we're pretty much done terraforming the harbour, so we can get rid of a few of these tiles. Now it's time to start building the marina proper. For this we're using the NBVC Modular Marina set, at least I think that's what it's called. Link will of course be in the description to where you can download it. And you want to start with a pier piece. I'm just finding one I like. This will be essentially the main pier of the marina. This is going to be quite a small marina, as you can probably tell already, but that doesn't matter. This is just to get you the basic concepts, so you can build bigger marinas. Right, so now we've got our lot, we just need to place it down. Now when placing marina pieces, you need to be mindful of where you're placing them. You want to make sure the boats have enough room to get out and manoeuvre around, and there seems to be about right. Now marinas never ever have just one pier. They have, or very rarely just have one pier, they have lots of piers. So just on the side here we're going to put a few more down. These are going to be smaller because we don't want these to get in the way of the pier I just built a minute ago, which is going to be our main pier. Now, the NBVC lots include some curved pier pieces, but you really want to avoid using those, in my opinion. From all the marinas I've seen, at least the ones in the UK, they tend to have straight piers. A lot of them. Some of them have, quite a few of them have forks, so you can have lots of forks and branches going out differently, but generally the piers are straight, so you want to avoid using the curved pier pieces. Now I've placed a couple of the side piers, I'm just going to keep building the wall. yeah, the NBVC set is pretty comprehensive and gives you everything you need. So I'll just let the video do the talking at this point. There are a few detail lots and a couple of styles of straight to diagonal, so you can get creative, and eventually you end up with something like this. I realised there that I actually didn't let the video do most of the talking there, but who cares. So at the end we have these little corner pieces. Make sure you get the orientation right. And notice we've used the corner piece to round it off at the end there. And so now we just need some straight pieces to fill in the gaps. Okay, so I'm just building the last one here. And you notice when we pop it to that wall piece there is a little bit glitchy, but no worries, you can just zoom in and out again and it'll be fine. Now here you'll see we've got a little bit of terrain sticking out beyond the wall. We don't want that, we want it to go straight from the wall into the water, as would happen in real life. So I'm just using the lower terrain tool very, very carefully. Just little single mouse clicks or tiny little taps, and I mean tiny little taps. You also notice I've made the brush tool a little bit smaller there. You do that by holding down the control key. That just gives you a little bit more precision and control. That looks a lot better. So now we've pretty much finished the wall, and it's time to extend this pier. Like I said earlier, you really want to make sure your piers are straight. You can have forks. Well, I say you can have forks. The NBVC lot doesn't have junctions and fork lots, unfortunately. But keeping it straight is important. In all the marinas I saw when I was researching this, you just don't see curved piers. You just don't. You need to be very careful placing these lots. They're designed to be placed 2 tiles apart. You can see there I've messed up because I've only placed it 2 tiles away from the pier piece, and some of the boats are overlapping. So that's not how to do it. The easiest way to make sure you get this this right, because it can be quite tricky placing these lots in water, is just to place your cursor over a lot that's already built and just count out the number of tiles. So you see there I've started on an existing piece. I'm counting out 3 tiles. 1, 2, 3. Place. And then I think this has gone out far enough, so we're going to place an end piece. You can get creative with this, but just remember, keep the piers straight, and of course make sure you leave plenty of room for the boats to maneuver around and get out. Okay, so that's the end piece. Now that pier's pretty much done, I'm just going to make sure the terrain is flat again. And I'm just going to create some space here for a little car park. A lot of marinas in real life have, and there you go. And whilst I'm at it, I'm also going to create some, I'm also going to terraform for an access road. And obviously the slope here is quite steep because I'm doing this on the Maxis Timbuktu map. So we've got to straighten out this slope. So I'm going to use the LRL tool to do that, because that's one of my slope that can handle steeper slopes with my slope mod. You can use roads, you can use whatever works for you. So I'm trying to create a curve here. What I really want to do is kind of like a switchback just to fit the terrain. honest with you, this didn't really work for me in the video, so I just decided to leave it. Eventually. And now we have this little ridge here, which looks a little bit ridiculous. So we'll just get rid of that by smoothing out with the arrow tool. And there you go. Now I have the land ready for an access road. If you have more space, you can fit out the edge of the marina with nice apartment blocks and restaurants, which tend to be very common sights around marinas. But as we don't have the space, and as this is a quick and dirty video just to show you how to build marinas, I've left it out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create some nice paths for visitors to walk around the marina. There's all kind of path textures you can use here, but I'm going to use the PedMalls paths, partly because I like the look of them, and partly because if you were going to build commercial buildings by the marina, like restaurants and shops, the PedMalls gives you the road access that you need for those commercial lots to grow, so it's very useful. Now, of course, those of you familiar with the NAM, which you all should be, will know that PedMalls are in the road menu, and I'm going to use the sandstone texture, so you can see it. And there you go, and you just plonk the lots down. Sandstone texture has a nice brick pattern, which I think is quite befitting of a marina scene. And we just want to extend this around the marina. And there you go. Now our attention turns to this little slipway here. Most slipways are concrete ramps, so we're going to try and replicate that with an MMP, and I'm going to use this Tarmac MMP. I'll put a link in the description. And this can be quite finicky, so be patient. The most important requirement here is that you have to be able to place the MMP into water. In real life, these slipways exist to allow boats to be launched, so they have to extend into the water. And so to simulate that, you make sure that you drag your MMP into the water, as you can see I'm doing here. This can be a bit finicky, so you do need to be patient. And after a while you'll get the completed slipway. I've used a different MMP to just touch up some areas. I actually used the wrong MMP here. I should have used a blacktop path that I have rather than an asphalt path, but for the purposes of this video, we're just going to not worry about that too much. Now, the one other important feature of marinas is breakwaters. These are essentially walls that protect ships in the marina, or boats in the marina, from big sea waves. So the lots we're using here are the NBVC breakwaters, I think, and I've just placed one there on the side. As you can see, they're quite finicky. You want to make sure that the start lot extends onto land, and then we're just going to place some walls to extend it. I'm going to use the counting trick that I described earlier to make sure that we've put them in the right place. Mouse over an existing lot and boom. So you eventually get something like this. And now it's time to build a second wall from the other side. Notice here, what I'm building here is a key feature of all breakwaters. There's two walls with a little overlap between them, and you can see there's that little channel there in the middle to allow the boats to get in and out. This overlap provides protection for the boats from the high seas, whilst also providing a facility for the boats to get out. so you need quite a bit of overlap. Yeah, here I've used a couple of those 3x1 lots, and now I'm just going to end it with a ladder piece, making sure that the ladder faces inside the harbour. It's quite important. There's no point in having a ladder that's built out to sea, and then just one of the end pieces. You'll notice now I've built some test lots just to make sure I've got the orientation correct, and that's a good idea when placing lots in water. So now we just need to place the end piece. And there you go, that's our completed breakwater. So to finish this marina off, I'm just going to build a quick and dirty car park, an access road, nice little street to provide access, and then a car park. I'm going to use one of my car park packs. This is not a car park tutorial, so I won't go through it, but you can figure that out for yourself. And there you can see the completed car park and the completed marina. So that was how to create marinas in SimCity 4. It's a very quick and dirty video just to show you the key concepts. Of course, when you're building these marinas in real life, you'll want to include a lot more detail and get creative. So the next part in this series will be on freight seaports, part 2. I hope, but in the meantime, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I've been SmileyMK93, and I'll see you next time.